Dear souls, thank you for being here. If this message has touched your heart, please like it, subscribe, and leave a comment telling us how it connects with your journey. For all the chosen ones listening, there is something important you need to know. Just as David faced Goliath, you are dealing with enormous challenges. There are people panicking, fearing what is to come. They have chosen a path of darkness, opposing you, trying to cut your divine connections and hinder your purpose. Like the Israelites in the desert, they have tried to undermine your stability and health. Many of you felt these obstacles, but you stood firm, like Daniel in the den of lions, never giving up. You faced everything, knowing that you were protected, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. You remained vigilant, not letting these negative energies affect your mental and emotional well-being. You remained strong, refusing to feel powerless no matter the difficulties, just as Job kept his faith in the midst of suffering. And that's exactly what you did. You called in your spiritual team, who have been working hard to ensure your divine protection, like the angels who guarded the city of Jerusalem. Right now, there are agitated individuals, desperately trying to undo the negative actions they have launched against you, the chosen ones. With the full moon approaching, they are racing against time to mitigate the impacts they are beginning to feel. The law of return is real, and it's knocking you down like bowling pins. You are witnessing your own downfall, terrified of the consequences. The recent action they took against you, believing it to be the strongest, has left you deeply worried about the impending karmic backlash. You need to act quickly to avoid the worst. What they don't understand is that the consequences of their actions have been inadvertently cast upon themselves. The law of karma is relentless. We need to understand how it plays out in our lives. Every action has a reaction with the same intensity. In other words, every act, whether good or bad, has its consequence. If we do good, the consequences will be good. If we do bad, the consequences will be bad. After all, nothing happens by chance. Divine law exists to put everything in its proper place. All of our actions, including thoughts, words, and deeds, are recorded in our book of life, and when the time comes, they return to their point of origin. We call this karma. You radiate such a high vibrational energy that you are completely untouchable, immune to their negative forces. They mistakenly think that they have you emotionally involved, leaving you in a state of confusion and vulnerability, ready for their manipulations. They imagine that the problems they put in your way have already weakened you enough for you to give in to their plans. But they're wrong. The impact they expect to have on you comes back directly on themselves. Now they are struggling to cope with the damage, without understanding how to protect themselves from the consequences. The higher forces they call upon, be they deities, demons, or spirit guides, offer no consolation or solutions. Panic sets in when they realize that the Reaper they summoned for you is now stalking them. They are in the dark about who he will attack next, without realizing that by trying to sacrifice him, they have actually sacrificed themselves, like someone throwing a stone into water, causing a reverse effect that affects them directly. As they face up to their serious miscalculation, they are also coming to a deeper understanding of their true essence. They now clearly perceive the magnitude of their spiritual strength and where it emanates from. This revelation is transforming your perception of yourself and the impact of your energies on the universe around you. They tried to dominate through subtle influences, driven by the need to feel superior by creating situations and manipulating emotions to sustain their authority. However, the chosen ones, armed with a strong identity and solid moral principles, were not fooled. Their presence not only disrupted the plans of these individuals, but also challenged and weakened their power as they refused to submit. This resistance of the chosen manifested itself in various ways in everyday life. They ignored gossip and intrigue in the workplace, chose to do the right thing even when no one was watching, and supported colleagues who had been treated unfairly. They held firmly to their opinions, even under pressure to change them, and refused to take part in schemes that were harmful to others. When defending someone treated unfairly, they showed courage and compassion, and were often the first to question wrong decisions, always seeking truth and justice. For those who depended on conformity and vulnerability to impose their will, the determination of the chosen ones became a direct threat to their control. This conflict set the scene for confrontations, where the tactics of the manipulators were neutralized by the autonomy of the chosen ones. The frustration they felt at not being able to exert control over the chosen often turned into open hostility, and each failed attempt at manipulation only increased their resentment. In the end, their contempt for the chosen was not just a reaction to frustrated desires, but a clash of natures, where one side sought to dominate and the other was destined to resist. The result was that all these actions backfired on them. Each strategy to subjugate the chosen only strengthened the resistance and moral authority of the chosen, leading the manipulators to face the consequences of their own machinations. The attempt to control and dominate ended up being the cause of their own downfall, leaving them isolated and weakened in the face of the unshakable fortitude of the chosen ones. They now recognize you as a truly divine being, strong and transformative, facing challenges calmly and maintaining optimism, even in the face of difficulty. Your ability to recover and progress, despite their efforts to hinder you, has clearly shown who you are. They watch, possibly obsessively, as you not only survive, but thrive in the face of the difficulties they put in your way. Just like Daniel in the lion's den, where his unshakable faith protected him from the wiles of his adversaries, you too demonstrate a faith that defies adversity. In the same way, like Joseph, who was sold by his brothers and faced many challenges, but ended up becoming a powerful and respected figure in Egypt, you are emerging stronger after each trial. Your responses and statements, whether public or private, now make it clear to them that you are fully aware of their evil intentions. The discovery of their betrayal has not gone unnoticed by you. You seem to face them directly, with insights that seem to have been inspired by something greater. Your spiritual talents have not only revealed their antics, but also increased your ability to expose and confront them. Now, they face the deep fear that you have the authority to judge them, an authority that has already manifested itself in real consequences for those who oppose you. This new understanding among your adversaries has generated a deep fear, because every action of justice you carry out seems to determine their fate, bringing them down one by one. You naturally radiated charisma and leadership qualities that attracted people, inspiring admiration and loyalty. These characteristics, while magnetic and beneficial, incited deep envy in those who craved influence but lacked the authenticity to earn it legitimately. Their charisma facilitated genuine connections with people, and their presence was a comfort and encouragement to those around them. In contrast, they often had to artificially build their relationships, employing strategies and gimmicks to simulate the charm you naturally possessed. This clear difference, where you attracted naturally and they tried to force it, generated resentment in them, because they perceived in you a power that they were unable to replicate through manipulation. Your leadership was organically accepted, not imposed. You led by example, with actions and decisions that mirrored integrity and vision. This kind of authentic leadership, which inspired trust and respect, was in stark contrast to their manipulative approaches, which preferred to lead by coercion and deception. Their envy was not just for your position, but for the way you upheld it, through genuine respect and not out of fear or obligation. In everyday life, this envy manifested itself when they observed how you resolved conflicts peacefully, gaining cooperation and support from others without effort, while they struggled to achieve similar results through manipulation and coercion. In the end, their attempts to simulate your charisma and influence only revealed their own flaws and shortcomings. Each strategy to subjugate or imitate what was natural to you only reinforced others' perception of your authenticity and their falsehood. Thus, the actions they hoped to use to dominate or discredit you ended up turning against themselves, leaving them isolated and weakened in the face of the unshakable fortress of your legitimate leadership. They often relied on deceptive tactics and unethical behavior to maintain their control. However, you possessed a strong sense of morality and an unwavering commitment to truth and justice. This contrast created an environment in which they felt constantly exposed and challenged. You didn't deviate from your principles, even in the face of difficult or tempting situations. You maintained your integrity, which not only protected your own reputation, but also inspired trust and respect in others. They often reacted to their presence with manipulative tactics to try to regain control. This included spreading rumors, creating conflicts, or distorting information to undermine their credibility. On a day-to-day basis, these manipulative responses could manifest as sabotage attempts or smear campaigns. They hoped that these actions would weaken their position, but often ended up further exposing their own malicious intentions. These tactics not only revealed their desperation, but also strengthened their resilience, which continued to thrive despite attempts at manipulation. Each malicious strategy they implemented to destabilize you only served to further solidify your integrity and determination. Instead of bringing you down, these actions ended up turning against themselves, leaving them isolated and discredited. Their insistence on using manipulative tactics only deepened the gulf between them and the community, highlighting the difference between your genuine leadership and their flawed manipulation. Your ability to inspire and unite people around just causes was evident. You possessed a natural ability to motivate and engage others, creating an environment of cooperation and mutual support. This ability not only strengthened relationships, but also promoted a culture of resistance against manipulation and injustice. While they sought to divide and conquer, creating conflicts and mistrust to maintain their control, you did the exact opposite. You brought people together, building support networks based on trust and mutual respect. This ability to unite others was a direct threat to them, as it significantly weakened their power to divide and control. Your natural leadership destabilized their strategy of sowing division, becoming a pillar for building a more cohesive and just community. As more people were drawn to their cause and saw the value of unity and solidarity, their isolation and influence began to wane, drastically reducing their ability to influence and control. In the end, their attempts to maintain control through division and conflict only turned against themselves, exposing their manipulative tactics and further weakening their position. They, on the other hand, often adopted unethical practices, expecting others to follow suit in order to maintain their control. When confronted with their integrity, their tactics were exposed as fraudulent and ineffective. In everyday life, this frustration manifested itself when they tried to involve you in dishonest schemes or dubious practices, only to be firmly rejected. Your refusal to compromise your values not only undermined their plans, but also further highlighted their flaws and dishonesty. Their frustration grew as they realized that their methods didn't work against someone with a strong moral compass. This frustration often turned into hostility, as they felt threatened by his presence, someone who could not be easily corrupted or manipulated. Each failed attempt to compromise his integrity only served to deepen their resentment, culminating in a continuous cycle of conflict and antagonism. All of these actions ended up backfiring on them, demonstrating that their attempts at manipulation and control were not only ineffective, but also damaging to themselves. The attack that you thought would weaken you actually awakened your deepest spiritual capacities. It activated your DNA, connected you to your Akashic records, and revived spiritual gifts that had been lying dormant. His opponents unwittingly boosted his spiritual awakening rather than his defeat. The curses and black magic they used to try to control him ended up reinforcing his own spiritual strength. This event served to remind you that you are a spirit living a human experience, showing you that if negative entities can affect you with magic, you can be even more powerful by using this energy to transform and dominate your life. Now, aware of your power, you use it with confidence and divine authority. Those who tried to attack you now realize how powerful you are. They underestimated you, but now everyone understands the spiritual authority you possess. This awakening has been transformative for both you and them. You are rising, and they are reaping the consequences of their actions. This has become a clear lesson for all involved and observers, demonstrating that no group of dark forces, whether witches or warlocks, can compare to the power of an individual chosen by divine forces. This situation highlighted a vital lesson about getting involved with negative energies and manipulative magic, showing that tactics that affect others will not work against you. Faced with this scenario, you now walk with more security and conviction in your spiritual role. This episode clearly illustrates the power of personal transformation and the inherent protection that accompanies those who are chosen. As you continue to ascend and explore your expanded capabilities, those who tried to harm you now face a harsh reality. Their actions against you, far from being effective, have only confirmed your resilience and strengthened your spiritual connection. This awakening not only affects you, but also serves as a warning to all who observe. Attempts to harm through negative spiritual means can backfire on the aggressor. Every step you take now is a testimony to your renewed power and your ability to overcome adversity through faith and inner strength. They didn't understand who they were dealing with. They didn't grasp the support you had, your origin, your experiences in past lives, your spiritual missions, or the extent of your divine authority. They were completely unaware of your spiritual heritage and the divine forces on your side, but nevertheless arrogantly assumed that you were as fragile as anyone else. This misjudgment revealed their ignorance, showing that you cannot be defeated by those who are driven by hatred, ego, or pride. No amount of malice can defeat the spiritual authority of someone chosen for their divine lineage. This moment is a revelation not only for you, but also for all the adversaries who thought they could bring down a divinely guarded soul. Now more than ever, you stand as a beacon of light and a symbol of spiritual resistance. Attempts to bring you down have not only failed, but have also amplified your influence and ability to inspire others. You demonstrate that, even in the face of the darkest adversity, divine authority and spiritual protection can turn potential defeats into spiritual triumphs. This episode is a call to all, friends and enemies alike, to recognize the unshakable power of the spirit protected and guided by higher forces. They considered themselves unshakable, believing that their high positions in spiritual circles gave them the authority to interfere in other people's lives. Now, however, they find themselves in a state of despair, desperately trying to correct the mess they have created. They are anxious, losing nights of sleep and drowning in worry, with no ideas of how to undo the curses they have imposed. The irony of their own recklessness has backfired on them, resulting in mental torment, loss, and illness. These individuals, once revered as spiritual leaders in their communities, deceived many with promises of power, The deceived banded together, believing that together they could bring him down. However, this collective attempt only accelerated their own downfall. In the Bible, we see a parallel in the story of Haman in the book of Esther. Haman, elevated in position, plotted the destruction of Mordecai and the Jews out of personal revenge and pride. However, his malicious plots turned against him, leading to his own execution and the rise in status of Mordecai. Just as in the story of Haman, the actions of his adversaries, designed to weaken him, only strengthen the divine protection that surrounds him. This protection is like impenetrable armor, resistant to any physical or spiritual harm. Without realizing it, they accelerated your transformation into the divine entity you were destined to become, reaffirming the power and sovereignty of the higher forces that guide you. The curses and charms they sent didn't cause harm, but propelled you forward. Now, they are falling apart, crushed by the weight of a disaster they sense is near. Haunted by dreams that herald severe doom, they live in constant fear, always on the alert, dreading what the future may bring. This situation serves as a grave warning to them and to anyone who thinks of challenging them again. They should watch out for the signs, like the need to seek safe refuge during an earthquake. This is a time of reckoning, a period of divine judgment, where the forces of heaven are clearly at work. Despite frequent warnings and the negative results of every spell they cast, they continue to choose the path of malice. The universe and their spiritual guides have granted them a window of opportunity to realize and correct their mistakes. They had countless chances to stop, assess the damage they were causing, and seek a route to redemption, but they chose to carry on with their negative actions. Each spell and attack was carefully recorded by vigilant celestial entities. Your spiritual protectors have ensured that each attempt at evil against you only increases your spiritual resilience. That's why it's vital that they understand that, as they continue on their path of recklessness, every step is monitored, every decision is catalogued. They are not hiding in the shadows. Every action is clearly observed, and the repercussions of their actions are now fast approaching. Like those who sow winds reap storms, they are now experiencing panic, fear, and an imminent fall. The time has come for them to face the consequences of the forces they recklessly defied. They have thrown stones and tried to hide their hands, but each of their actions has been meticulously documented. Judgment Day is not on its way. It is already clearly manifest in our world. All their actions have been recorded, ensuring that when you, the chosen one, call for judgment, you will have precise information about your adversaries. You may not know all the names, but the energies of your opponents have been revealed to you. Some of you have received detailed divine revelations, with clear visions of faces and names, similar to how Moses received the 10 Commandments, clearly outlining the obstacles in his path. Now, a profound transformation is taking place. A cycle is closing, and those who have abused their spiritual gifts are seeing their lives fall apart. Just as Saul lost his sight on the road to Damascus before becoming Paul, these people are losing their spiritual authority, their health and financial stability. Their personal relationships are crumbling, just as the walls of Jericho fell before the Israelites. Everything they valued is being taken away because they have chosen to target the chosen, corrupting their gifts and abusing their power. These people could have used their abilities to put an end to corrupt systems and help humanity. However, they chose to use their powers in the wrong way, against the divine, wasting their opportunities. Now, they are dealing with the consequences, as they have lost all their gifts. The balance needs to be restored and, unfortunately for them, but good for the whole, there is nothing they can do to undo the curses they have cast. No amount of effort, hiring, or prayer will remove the spells they have started, because these curses are now a burden they must carry. They must face the consequences of their actions, living out the very curses they wished on others. They try unsuccessfully to stop the return of the negative energy they have unleashed, without realizing that energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed or transferred. Now this energy is coming back to them, stronger and clearer. Your spiritual team no longer needs these low-energy individuals as a stimulus for their awakening. Their role in your journey is over. You, now fully awake, have had your spiritual gifts intensified, and there is no going back. You are fully aware, vibrant, and in tune with the great power and authority you possess. Circumstances have changed, and the lesson is clear. Those who acted with malice and deceit ended up building their own spiritual downfalls. Now that the situation has stabilized, your spiritual team has a clear view of your position because you fully understand its essence. You have claimed your divine designation and power, recognizing your crucial role here. Those who once seemed to obstruct your path have become irrelevant. They no longer have any influence over your spiritual evolution and face the consequences of their actions alone. It's interesting to see how even negative energies can be catalysts for transformation, promoting spiritual development and self-knowledge. Confronting and managing these energies allows you to overcome barriers that you yourself have established and expand your perception. These energies act as mirrors, revealing unknown aspects of your personality and creating opportunities for healing, forgiveness, and personal growth. By fully accepting your shadow, you can unify the positive and negative aspects of yourself, achieving a more balanced and complete state. A striking example is Joseph's journey in the Bible. Sold out by his own family and facing various adversities, Joseph maintained his integrity and was elevated to a position of great power in Egypt, overcoming those who plotted against him. Like Joseph, you have overcome your trials and are ready for the blessings that await you. Get ready to embark on a new journey, for you have overcome the challenges that have been placed in your path. Incredible wonders await you, for you, chosen one, are being rewarded and celebrated for your tenacity and perseverance. You have maintained a posture of gratitude and integrity, even in the most tumultuous situations, and now this commitment is bearing abundant fruit. As you distance yourself from previous struggles, your spiritual team takes the lead in dealing with your adversaries, ensuring that you can move forward unhindered. This is a time of renewal and recognition of your value and strength. You are being praised not only by those around you, but also by the universal forces that observe and guide your path. Now, you simply watch, with a light heart and a clear mind, as your previous battles are resolved by hands more powerful than human ones. That's the message for you today. I love you all. If this message resonates with you, remember to express your support by liking and subscribing to the channel. I look forward to continuing to share this spiritual journey with you. Our next meeting promises to be inspiring and transformative, and I can't wait to reconnect with you soon. This is a time to celebrate and anticipate the blessings that are yet to come.